It's Tuesday, the 9th of December. We're on our way to the big city of Giessen. Town of about 80,000. It's where the university is that I taught at, or did research at for 30 years, I guess. And in order to get there, I'm going to take you on a quick trip on the Autobahn. It's the first time that I've taken you along on the Autobahn. We don't really use the Autobahn very much these days. First of all, we haven't been traveling very much outside of our local area here. And secondly, this car is in need of new work, some new bearings in the differential. You can hear them whining and crying away as we drive. They've been loud like that for well over a year, I guess. It's a huge job to replace them. You have to remove the engine and transmission, radiator, oil cooler, the whole shebang. So we've put it off. We were thinking about getting a new car instead, but quite truthfully, the new cars that even come into question because of the price are really not very interesting. This car is very, very nice. It's been served us very well. We've had it for 11 years and over 200,000 kilometers. We've had no repairs on it aside from the normal things until yesterday, the day before yesterday, when we were coming home. It started stuttering when you gave it a little gas at low speeds. At high speeds it was fine, and I assumed that meant it was something to do with the ignition system, because it seemed like it probably got enough spark at high speeds, but at low speeds something was wrong. And in fact, that's what the case was. I didn't know anything about the engine on this car, because you can't even see it. In order to change the spark plugs, you have to put it up on a hoist and do it from below. The engine lays very flat, very low and flat between the front wheels, and mechanics are not at all happy with this car. I can understand that. It's very difficult to work on the engine. Fortunately, the engine needs very little work, but when it does need it, then of course it's the way it is. And in any case, I thought I'd let you know how things work here if you use them the way probably the majority of people do. In a case like that, I got home with the engine, as I say, stuttering, misfiring at low speeds, and the engine light came on, the warning light, whatever it's called, that says the engine needs attention. And of course it tells you no, it gives you no information whatsoever about what might be wrong. So I called my mechanic. We don't take the car to a Mercedes dealer, we take it to a private workshop, very good workshop. I'll take you there sometime, in fact. And I called them and I said, should I drive there? And they said, well, no, you better not, because we can't tell what the problem is from a distance. Call the German Automobile Club, the ADAC, and have them come look at it, and they can decide then whether you can safely drive it here. It's about a 5-mile drive, 6-mile drive, or whether they should tow you here. Well, it was interesting because I've been a member of the German Automobile Club for 48 years, but I have never once used their service. So I was a bit reticent. I was uncertain whether to do it, but I finally decided to. I had to go look for the number. I didn't even have the number on hand. I have a card from them, and I dialed the number. And to my astonishment, someone picked up the phone on the first ring. A very nice lady who said, who asked me what the problem was, and then asked me for my name and my card number. And when I told her what was wrong, she said, all right, I'll have a technician come by, or a mechanic. I'll have a mechanic come by and look at it. He'll call you. And I thought, oh, well, we'll see if that happens. And less than 10 minutes later, the phone rang, and a very pleasant man wished me a good morning and asked me he already knew what the problem was because the woman had already told him, and he knew where I was, and with GPS, of course, that was no problem whatsoever. And he said, all right, I'm going to need about 30 minutes to get to you. I'll call you 10 minutes before I'm there. And sure enough, about 20 minutes later, the phone rang, and he said, I'll be there in about 10 minutes. So I said, fine. The car's in front on the carport. And he showed up 10 minutes later in his yellow Opel. All the ADAC, the Auto Club cars are all bright yellow. And he got out, looked at the car, asked me for the model number, and then got his little test computer, plugged it in under the dash of the car, and read out the error, which was cylinder number 3 misfiring, and probable cause, the ignition coil. As I said, I don't know anything about this car. I was surprised to learn that it has distributorless ignition. So each cylinder has its own coil and a coil pack. And so he said, it should be fine for you to drive to your workshop. I will drive behind you in case there'd be a problem, and I can bring you back home again. This is great service, and it really is great service. That's exactly what happened. We drove to the repair shop. The two gentlemen spoke about the problem, and the fellow in the shop said, the mechanic said, all right, I'll connect it up to our computer. It'll tell me for sure if the coil is bad, and if it is, we'll order a coil. I'll try to get it today and get you back on the road. Well, that didn't happen. It doesn't matter. In any case, the ADAC, the Auto Club man, drove me back home again, and this morning the mechanic brought me my car. It was in fact the coil. He replaced it. He got a replacement yesterday, in fact, and when it came, it was broken in half. So it goes without saying that he couldn't fix the car yesterday. So, but the new one, another one came this morning, and it was okay. And he put it in, and he also changed the plugs while he was at it, because he said it's such a pain to get to the plugs. When you take the coil pack out, you can get to the plugs easily. So since he was down there doing that, well, he put a new set of plugs in. And I'm going to go to the post office here. That's why I'm fooling around here. I'm going going to try to go to the post office anyway. I hope that somebody moves out here for the parking place so I have a park. I'll bring you back in a minute. I have to go into the post office. Oh, looks like I'm in luck. Somebody's man is pulling out here with his Volkswagen station wagon. Oh, there's another lady leaving here too, so plenty of parking spaces opening up. Parking spaces are always a problem in Europe, or well, almost always anyway. We have so many people and so many cars in such a small area. So, nice parking place here, no problem. Be back with you in a minute. So, in front of us is a big, well, for Europe anyway, a big Volkswagen Touareg, an SUV with a 230 horsepower V6 turbo diesel. Very expensive car, actually. With a Wolfsburg license plate. That's where, I guess most people know, that's where Volkswagens are built, in Germany anyway. We're in Alsfeld. I've brought you to Alsfeld a number of times. This is oh, the sun's right in our eyes here. Sorry about that. Alsfeld is the closest the closest town to where we live. Oh, I thought my windshield was clean, but I see it's filthy. Well, sorry about that. Next time I'll make sure I clean it better. I was in a bit of a hurry to get out of the house. I diddled around again, as happens so often. I diddled and diddled, and I wanted to leave the house at about 2 o'clock, and it was a little later, but it's okay. We're all right. I got rid of my mail. I sent a sticker just now to Canada, to Mordor. Keith, I hope you get your sticker pretty soon. It'll probably take 4 or 5 days. Well, that windshield really is filthy. I'm sorry about that.